Did you know your brain can burn more energy worrying for an hour than your legs do walking for two? Yeah. So if you're constantly running on fumes, feeling like a zombie with a LinkedIn profile, it might not be your body. It might be your mind, your meals, or even your social circle performing an emotional heist. This isn't about working harder. It's about outsmarting the invisible forces draining your life. My name is Sunday, and I used to live in a perpetual state of low battery. This is how I fought back, and how you can too. Stick around, because by the end of this part, you'll uncover 4 critical reasons you're exhausted and how to start reclaiming your day, your plate, your peace, and your movement. Trust me, Instagram can wait. Your peace can't. Secret 1. The morning trap. Waking up already behind. I used to wake up every single morning feeling like I was already losing a race I didn't sign up for. Not, oops, I overslept behind, but already being chased by emails, tasks, and expectations I didn't remember agreeing to. My eyes would open, and boom, dopamine withdrawal, cortisol spike, and this vague sense that I'd already disappointed 3 people. And it was only 7:08 a.m. My mornings? Phone in hand, doom scrolling through Instagram like it was a hostage negotiation. Check the news, check the group chat, check my email, and then check my soul. Yep, gone. Stolen sometime between the first notification and the 3rd sponsored post about protein cereal. Here's the brutal truth. The way you start your day becomes your day. If you begin it overwhelmed, overstimulated, and undercaffeinated, congratulations, you've already invited burnout to breakfast. I was basically destroying myself waking up on defense. My brain never had a chance to simply be, to think clearly, to decide who I wanted to be that day. It was like waking up in a courtroom and immediately being cross-examined by Slack, Gmail, and anxiety. What if I told you a simple, forgotten phone charge saved my sanity? Until one morning, total fluke, I forgot to charge my phone. Woke up to silence. No screen, no alerts, no fake emergencies from a Mr. Henderson in finance. Just me, breathing, existing, fully unplugged for like 12 minutes. And I swear to you, I felt peace. Like actual, maybe I'm not dying inside peace. So I tried it the next day on purpose. And then the next. That tiny window, 10 to 15 minutes before the world starts screaming, became sacred. I stopped treating rest like a crime scene. I started slow. No phone, no input, just me. A glass of water, some deep breathing, maybe even journaling if I was feeling like a Pinterest guru. And yeah, I still had the same job, same life, same problems. But my energy was different because I was finally leading my day instead of surviving it. And that changed everything. The first 15 minutes of your day are like the steering wheel on a car. Grab it wrong, you crash. Grab it right, you still hit traffic, but at least you're not veering into a ditch. So maybe tomorrow, try waking up before the internet does. Let your brain stretch before it sprints.
Secret 2. The edible sabotage. Eating for fullness, not fuel. Here's the embarrassing part. There was a time, longer than I care to admit, when I thought I was healthy because I ate granola. You know, that crunchy kind with the sunflower seeds and an aura of misplaced optimism. I'd sprinkle it on yogurt like I was somehow superior to mere mortals. Except 45 minutes later, I'd be face down on my desk like someone pulled my plug, wondering, why am I so tired? I just ate something healthy. Here's the thing they don't tell you in your Pinterest smoothie bowl phase. Not all food gives you energy. Some of it steals it, quietly. Like a thief in the night with a PhD in metabolism. I was eating for fullness, for taste, for the illusion of control. But I wasn't eating for fuel. I was basically throwing wet logs on a fire, then getting mad when the fire turned into a puff of smoke. The biggest culprits? Sugar, processed carbs, and those healthy snacks that are basically candy bars in yoga pants. Ever had one of those energy bars that gives you everything except energy? Yeah, those things could power a blood sugar spike big enough to light a small village for 22 minutes, and then crash. Deep, irreversible nap vibes. Crash. Like, I need to close my eyes in this meeting and pretend I'm meditating. Crash. What if your healthy lunch is actually a sedative in disguise? I didn't realize how much food was messing with my energy until I started tracking how I felt after eating. Not how full I was, not how clean it seemed, but how I actually felt 30, 60, 90 minutes later. What I learned hit me like a gluten-free brick. Most of the stuff I ate was knocking me out like a sedative. Even the stuff with leafy greens and words like ancient grains. I switched it up. I started eating real, whole foods that gave stable energy. Protein, fiber, healthy fats that actually make your brain work. Stuff like eggs, nuts, avocados, Greek yogurt without the sugar coma. And this is key. I stopped eating like I was prepping for an apocalypse. I used to eat these giant meals thinking, this will keep me full all day. Yeah, it kept me full and slow, like I had swallowed a beanbag chair. Instead, I started eating smaller, purposeful meals to fuel the next few hours, not the next few decades. And you know what happened? No crash. No 2 p.m. death spiral. Just steady energy. Enough to live, create, think, talk to people without fantasizing about silence. Tomorrow, eat something simple. Protein, healthy fat, fiber. Then wait. See how you feel an hour later. If your brain feels like a loading screen from 2003, it wasn't food, it was edible sabotage. Secret 3. The emotional vampires. People who drain your soul. Ever talk to someone and feel like you just ran a 5K, except you didn't move? You just sat there nodding, smiling, listening to the same drama for the 74th time. And somehow by the end of it, you're so drained you could nap under a fluorescent light on airport carpet. Yeah, that's emotional fatigue. And it's real. More real than kale, and way more exhausting than a treadmill. I used to think I was just introverted, or bad at small talk, or maybe my iron was low. But no, I was just spending too much time with people who drained my soul like they were sipping it through a compostable straw. You know the type. They never ask how you're doing unless it's to pivot back to themselves. Every conversation is a monologue. Every text thread is a therapy session you didn't sign up for with a Miss Periwinkle from accounting. And every hangout leaves you feeling like you need a spa day, a nap, and possibly a new identity. But here's the twist. Some of the most exhausting people in your life are nice. They're not toxic in the dramatic fire-starting way. They're emotionally exhausting in that I feel guilty setting boundaries with you kind of way. The kind where you leave their presence and immediately need to lay on the floor and stare at the ceiling. Are you setting yourself on fire to keep others warm? For the longest time, I thought this kind of tired was normal. I thought being a good person meant tolerating it, carrying it, absorbing it. Until one day I read a quote that slapped me harder than a rogue wave. You are not required to set yourself on fire to keep other people warm. And I felt that in my bones. So I made a list. No joke, an actual list of people who made me feel energized and people who made me feel like I needed to reboot my entire operating system. When I saw it written out, let's just say some friendships were actually just unpaid emotional labor contracts. And I started cutting cords. Gently, quietly, no drama, just less availability, fewer texts, more space. And the weirdest thing, no one really noticed. Turns out the people who constantly drained me didn't actually care how I was doing. They just cared that I was available to fix them. And when I stopped being available, they moved on to the next free therapist. But you know what did change? My energy, my peace, my ability to think, create, sleep, exist, without that constant low hum of guilt and resentment. You can be kind without being a sponge. You can care without carrying. Give yourself permission to audit your circle. Not everyone deserves front row seats in your life. Some need to be moved back to the cheap seats with binoculars, maybe a delay in audio. Your energy is expensive and you only get so much of it each day.
Stop spending it on people who treat your attention like an open bar.
Secret 4. The punishment trap. Moving more, but wrong. Let me paint you a scene. I'm sitting on the edge of my bed, fully dressed for the gym, headband, sneakers, the whole motivational Instagram ad package. And I'm paralyzed. Not physically, but mentally, spiritually, existentially. I'm just sitting there, completely exhausted before I even touch the door handle. Why? Because for years, I believed this toxic little lie. You're tired because you're not working out enough. So, naturally, I tried to fight exhaustion with intense workouts. I'm talking HIIT classes that felt like a hostage situation. Spin sessions that tried to kill me with techno music and screaming from a Coach Brenda. And yeah, I left drenched in sweat, but also emotionally bankrupt and halfway to a nap I couldn't afford. Here's what no one told me. Being exhausted and being out of shape are not the same thing. You can be fit and still feel like roadkill if you're constantly triggering your nervous system like it owes you rent money. And here's the crazy part. When I stopped pushing myself so hard, I actually started to have more energy. I know. Blasphemy, right? But hear me out. What I learned, and this is backed by actual science, not just some dude named Chad with abs on TikTok, is that when you're chronically tired, what your body really needs is movement that feels safe, not stressful, not punishing. Just enough movement to tell your nervous system, hey, we're alive and we're not being chased by a saber-toothed tiger or an overdue invoice. What if your boot camp is actually a drain, not a gain? So, I ditched the beast mode nonsense and started small. Like, walk around the block small. Stretch on the floor while watching Netflix small. 10 minutes of movement. Not to burn calories, not to earn lunch, just to move. And you know what happened? My energy went up. Not overnight, but slowly, consistently. I started feeling like a person again, not a zombie with glutes. The human body isn't designed for back-to-back meetings followed by panic cardio at 7 p.m. It's designed for rhythm, for flow, for little movements throughout the day that whisper, hey, we're okay. I started pacing during phone calls, doing air squats while I microwaved leftovers, walking in circles while listening to podcasts about trauma and why I keep overcommitting to things I hate. The bar was low, my friend, but that's the point. You don't need more punishment. You need more permission. Permission to move without an app screaming, one more rep. Permission to stretch because it feels good, not because you're trying to fit into jeans from 2017. When your movement becomes self-care instead of self-punishment, your energy changes, your brain lights up, your body responds, your life feels less like a prison and more like a ride you actually want to be on. If you're constantly exhausted and you think the answer is forcing yourself to the gym 6 days a week, pause, breathe, reconsider. Maybe your body doesn't need a boot camp. Maybe it needs a walk. Maybe it needs to dance badly in the kitchen. You've just uncovered 4 powerful secrets to reclaiming your energy, from mastering your mornings to taming emotional vampires. But what if the deepest drains are even more hidden? In video 2 of the 7 Silent Saboteurs, we're exposing the shocking truth about boredom, the exhausting cost of self-deception, and the radical idea that rest isn't earned, it's taken. If you're ready to unlock the final 3 secrets that truly transformed my energy and life, then click here to watch part 2 right now. You won't believe what you're missing.